If you've been researching condos in Kelowna and you're feeling like you're getting less and less for your money, Centuria is going to feel a little different. The units are bigger, the fees are lower, there's full amenities. This is not a new building, but it might be the best value in the city right now. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what I like, what to watch for, and who shouldn't buy here. If you want the building specs, I've got those at the end. If this is your first time here, I'm Mark with KelownaCondos.ca, and condos are my focus. I've been through the Strata documents here. I've toured the units at Centuria more times than I can count, so let's get into it. As you probably know from my other videos, I helped my mom retire here. And guess where she lives? The Centuria. Let me start with why I chose the Centuria over all of the other buildings in Kelowna for my mom when she moved here. The unit sizes here, they're hard to find at this price point. The overwhelming majority of the floor plans here are going to be 1,250 to 1,500 square feet. In most newer Kelowna condo buildings, 1,200 square feet is on the larger end. At the Centuria, that's the starting point. Most of the floor plans that I've been through, they do a great job of using that space. The rooms are a good size, the bedrooms are separated by the living rooms, and there's a solid amount of storage. These don't feel like condos that were designed to look good on paper. They feel like they were designed to live in. The Strata here is well run. There's an on-site manager who handles all the day-to-day stuff. He keeps the building well maintained, and he deals with issues as they come up. This is not something you find in every building, but it's one of the things that you appreciate a lot more after you lived in a building that doesn't have it. And the 2-stall parking situation here is better than almost any building I've seen. I would encourage you not to underestimate that. Street parking in Kelowna is disappearing faster than people realize. Now, let me get into the financial numbers, because the strata fees here are one of the strongest arguments for this building. At the time of this video, in early 2026, strata fees are just over 36 cents a square foot. On a 1,400 square foot unit, that's roughly $504 a month. And on a 1,200 square foot unit, you're looking at about $430 a month. Worth knowing is that the fees were 32 cents 4 years ago. I mention that because I know what you're thinking. The strata fees will go up. And you're right, but so will the fees in every other building in this category. A little side note, I've actually been seeing some of the strata fees come down lately. I think the biggest reason is that the insurance costs have started to come down a little bit from the peak of 2022. So here's why the number still stands out. Centuria is a full amenity building. It's got a pool, hot tub, sauna, a gym, a car wash, and the fees are still 36 cents a square foot. If we compare this to Park Place at 44 cents a square foot, or InView at 53 cents a square foot, Centuria is well below both of them. On a 1,200 square foot unit, that gap translates to $100 to $200 a month. So speaking of amenities, let me walk you through what's actually here. So Centuria has a full gym, it has a pool and a hot tub, it has a sauna, steam room, it has a car wash bay in the parkade, and it has like a meeting recreation room. The car wash bay is something that I always mention. Not that it's unique to this building, but it's the kind of practical feature that gets used regularly, and a lot of buildings don't have it. The amenities here also, they don't feel overcrowded. You might find a few people in the gym or the pool, but have yet to see it very busy. Also, the pool, it sits on the north side of the building, which is worth knowing because it gets hot in Kelowna, and on a hot summer day, you can use it without sitting in the full sun. A couple of other quick items worth knowing before we get into the watchouts. Parking is underground, and all units are going to come with at least 1 stall, and quite a few have 2. For buyers relocating here, 2-car parking is often a deal breaker. At Centuria, it's pretty easy to find a unit with 2 stalls at most price points, but you want to make sure you check the parking details on the Form B when you're looking at any specific unit. On pets, and this is a big one, 2 dogs or 2 cats, or 1 of each. But there's a size restriction of 14 inches at the shoulder. That means that only smaller dogs are going to be permitted. And this strata doesn't make exceptions. So if you have a large dog, Centuria shouldn't be on your list. Now let's talk about what to watch for. South-facing units on the lower floors can be noisy at night. There's a 7-Eleven right across from the south side of the building, and the lower floors on that side, they can pick up the foot traffic and the road noise. If you're a light sleeper, this is something that you should factor in. Also, the west parking lot has gotten a lot busier since No Frills and Anytime Fitness moved in. Most of the owners I talk to in the building, they love having a grocery store right outside their door. But if noise and that activity bother you, make sure that you're going to be on one of the higher floors. The third thing to know is about the building age. Centuria is approaching 20 years old, and the HVAC system is something that you're going to want to look at specifically. If the unit you're looking at has an original HVAC system, or if the water tank is over 10 years old, you need a budget for replacement. HVAC systems run upwards of $12,000, and a water tank is going to be a few $1,000s on top of that. If you're not sure how old either one is, get it professionally inspected during your subject period. Cosmetic stuff you can plan for, but a mechanical system that needs replacing is money that you're going to have to spend immediately. There's one more thing to know about this building, and you'd only know it if you live there or if you've read the Strata minutes. When Anytime Fitness opened, the units directly above the gym, they started hearing noise and thumping all day and all night. It's a 24-hour gym, and people dropping weights were driving the owners above crazy. So the gym brought in professionals, they did sound testing before and after, and they installed a completely new flooring system. This was completed just before this video, so it's still too early to tell if it's fully resolved. But given the amount of testing and work that went into it, I think the problem's being addressed. But you're going to want to confirm this in the Strata minutes, especially if you're buying a unit above the gym. Now, let me give you a few things to keep in mind when you're shopping for a condo here. The floor plans here are great. This isn't a building where one layout is clearly better and everything else is a compromise. Most of what I've been through works really well. That said, every unit is a little different. The building, again, is close to 20 years old, so some units are going to be renovated and some units aren't. Pricing, it can vary a lot when you're looking online, not because of the layout, but because of the finishings and what's been renovated. If you're on a fixed income, you want to make sure you get the HVAC inspected before the subjects come off. It's the one expense at this building that can catch you off guard, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. Real quick, if you're researching condos in Kelowna and finding this kind of breakdown helpful, consider subscribing. I put out building reviews like this regularly. Now, let me talk about the value at Centuria, because I don't think it gets enough attention. When you look at what $650,000 buys you in other concrete buildings, and then you look at Centuria, it's hard not to see the value. You're often going to get 200 to 300 square feet more in a full amenity building, and the strata fees are well below the others. The trade-off is that some units need cosmetic updating, and you're going to be farther from the lake, so the views are decent, but they're not going to be breathtaking. So who do I see when I'm in this building? There's a strong contingent of retired and semi-retired owners here. The amenities, the unit sizes, and the management quality seem to matter a lot to that demographic. But I'm also seeing a younger demographic show up, and it makes sense. If you need 2 stalls, you want a central location, and you want strata fees that are going to be easy on your budget, the Centuria makes sense. This is not a building with an Instagrammable lobby, but it's a well-run, well-located building for practical buyers who are thinking long-term. That said, though, it's not right for everybody. This isn't a loosely run strata where nobody cares about the rules. I've heard that it's not unusual to get a note on your car if you park in the visitor parking without registering in the lobby. So if you're looking for a relaxed, laid-back building, this probably isn't the right fit. And let me give you context on the neighborhood, because Centuria is technically in Glenmore, but that's a little bit misleading. Centuria sits just outside of downtown Kelowna. In practical terms, you're still very walkable to the lake, groceries, and things that bring people downtown. No Frills is just outside your door. Railside Brewery and Craft 42 Coffee are a few blocks away. If you want to walk a little farther, you've got Redbird, Rustic Reel, and almost anything else that you can want. You can also enjoy an evening out or a weekend brunch without getting in a car. That said, living downtown, it comes with the realities of living downtown. Noise, traffic, and the homeless situation are all part of it. The media tends to make it sound worse than it is. My experience living downtown has been a little different, and I talk about it in a separate video. The link is above. So for those that want the building details, here they are. Centuria was built in 2008, making it close to 20 years old. There are 151 units. The majority of them are 2 bedrooms. There are only 4 3-bedroom units running from 2,000 to 4,000 square feet, and they're priced accordingly. Most units are in the 12 to 1,500 square foot range. There are 4 units under 1,100 square feet, and there are 9 units above 2,000 square feet. If you're looking at concrete buildings in Kelowna and you haven't put Centuria on your list, it's worth a look, especially if square footage and strata fees matter to you. Whether you've been searching for a while or you're just getting started, if you'd like help finding the right condo, reach out. I'd love to chat. You can book a time through the link in the description below. And if you're familiar with the Centuria or you live there now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching.